Folks, our last video is about solving proportions. Our TEK is 6.4b. And there are two different types of proportions that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about rates, and we're going to talk about ratios. And I'm going to show you an example of each, but they all will be set up in a proportion. And once we've set up our proportion, then we're going to use a scale factor to solve for the missing piece. Okay, so a ratio, or let's start with rates. So if I'm given this rate problem, it says Joe runs 3 miles every day. How many days would it take him to run 24 miles? Okay, so let's set up our proportion. Okay, we've got 3 pieces of information and we need to find the fourth. Now, to make sure that I keep everything the same, it looks like I have miles and days are my 2 units that are given to me. You always want to figure out what's given to you first. So I've got 3 miles for every 2 days. Okay, so I just like to label to the side to make sure that all my numbers match up. So I'm going to do miles on top, and I will do days on bottom. For these types of problems, ratios and rates, it really doesn't matter which one you put on top or bottom, just as long as it's consistent throughout your proportion. Okay, so for miles, I'm given 3 miles for every 2 days. And I want to know how many days would it take him to run 24 miles? Okay, so we're looking for how many days. Okay, so that's what I don't know, are the days. And they're giving us in 24 miles. Okay, once we have our proportion, now we just need to find a scale factor. So I look here and I say, okay, my scale factor can either go side to side or it can go up and down. Now I see a relationship between 3 to 24. So from 3 to 24, I know that you just multiply by 8. So I'm going to use that same way to get to my question mark. So 2 times 8 is 16. So how many days would it take him to run 24 miles? It would take him 16 days. Okay, let's look at a ratio example. Here's my ratio example. Alex surveyed 7 students and found out that 2 like baseball. Based off this information, how many students would like baseball out of 35 students? Okay, so let's look at what's given to us. What's given to us is that he surveyed 7 students and found that 2 like baseball. So 7 students would be my total, and 2 of them choose baseball. So I'm going to put baseball on top. Baseball, people that like baseball, and then all my total students. Those are my 2 things that I'm comparing here. Okay, so I set up my proportion. And then I just want to keep these consistent throughout the whole proportion. So what's given to me is, let's start with that. What's given to me? What's given to me is 7 students and 2 like baseball. So 7 students and 2 of them like baseball. Okay, and then over here, it says, based off the information, how many students would like baseball out of 35? So we're wanting to know, what we're looking for is how many would like baseball? Okay, so we're wanting the baseball. How many would like baseball out of a total of 35 students? Okay, do you see a scale factor relationship? I do. So let's see. We can either go top to bottom, or we can go left to right and right to left. 2 and 7, I don't really see a relationship between 2 and 7, but I do see a relationship between 7 and 35. 7 times 5 gets me 35. So I'm going to use that same scale factor for the top. So if I multiply by 5, 2 times 5 gets me 10. So based off the information that's given to me, I can assume that out of 35 students, 10 of them would like baseball. So 10 like baseball. Okay, so just to recap, you have to figure out what's given to you. You have to figure out what 2 variables we are comparing. Here was miles and days, here was baseball and total students. You plug in what's given to you, and then you solve for what they're asking for. And that sums up solving proportions.